Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss G.I. Joe Retaliation, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Bruce Willis, DJ Cortana, Byung-hun Lee, Adrian Palicki, Ray Park, Jonathan Pryce, Ray Stevenson, and Channing Tatum, briefly, and directed by John M. Chu. Now, I have seen this before, and this is the same director as the Step Up films. So, what do I think of it? Let's get into it. Somewhere in North Korea, Duke, returned by Channing Tatum, goes on a mission to get someone out of there, with Roadblock, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Lady J, played by Adrian Palicki. And we learn also on Duke's G.I. Joe team is well as Flint, played by DJ Cortana, Snake Eyes, played by Ray Park, and someone with the name of Mouse. I don't know what his story is. As they fight off against Cobra with their team of Cobra Commander, played by Luke Bracey this time, and Destro, who are captured as the Joes are still at large, as are Storm Shadow, returned by Byung-hun Lee, and Zartan, returned by Arnold Vosloo, are still enlarged. And we get a recap of what happened with the G.I. Joes and Cobra, and we move on to Roadblock and Duke playing video games, as Duke is very bad at it. And what did make me laugh was Roadblock saying "mother," and then we go to the title of the movie on the screen as he cusses. It looked like it. And I'm liking the beginning of more than last time, as the last time felt messy. This is kind of an improvement, as the other characters are adequate at best, and that's better than last time in my opinion. The President of the United States, returned by Jonathan Pryce, is getting the G.I. Joes to combat after a president from the desert gets killed. I think it was Pakistan, I can't remember, and they go to combat, and a bullet that twists is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool trick, I say. Although Wanted did it first, and they success on their mission, and go back to base and lets the president know about it. And Duke wants to promote Roadblock as they shoot a cupcake, which was kind of clever, as the jokes were kind of hilarious, like Duke saying to Roadblock, "You love my panties," which, oh my god, made me laugh. And Zartan interrogates the president while holding him captive and asks him where the prison that holds Cobra Commander is at. And security shows up rather early and then blows up the Joe base, as Duke was killed. It might be for the best, because Channing Tatum had 21 Jump Street coming up at the time. Maybe he was already in it, I can't remember. So who's now leading the team? Roadblock, as Duke was trying to promote him in the first place, and as he with Flint and Lady J hide in a well, and they go underwater, and the president says to the world, the G.I. Joes are now abandoned, terminated. And I'm honestly not sure this is a plot hole for the whole movie. Roadblock, Jay, and Flint, who's another Joe, get out of the well and see the base is destroyed, and walk back to an airplane back to America, as Snake Eyes is arrested by and sent to warn Nigel James, played by Walton Goggins, who wasn't as popular at the time, in a prison, and the mask on Snake Eyes is much better than last time, as it has no lips. So that was an improvement. But it's not Snake Eyes, but instead of Storm Shadow, who gets arrested and caged up next to Destro and Cobra Commander, which is convenient. And when we see them next, Firefly, played by the Punisher from Warzone, Ray Stevenson, breaks Cobra Commander and Storm Shadow out of prison, as Storm Shadow gives freedom to Cobra Commander, while Firefly busts through the building while we barely see Cobra Commander's face, and kills Destro dead. And they escape the prison, with Storm Shadow getting burned in the back, and Warden James is killed, and the piece of action is fine, as I'm not having as bad a time as last time, while Roadblock, Jay, and Flint find an airbase, and again, I can kind of follow the plot, but there is a plot holes, excuse me, in this movie that will never be picked up by this movie. In Tokyo, Japan, Snake Eyes has a mission with Jinx, played by Elodie Young before she was Elektra in the Daredevil Netflix series. And she's as much as badass as she was in the show, or the Daredevil show, I mean. She was also in The Hitman's Bodyguard, and I like her as a badass. While Snake Eyes doesn't trust her, but she'll fight honorably in this movie as well. Roadblock, Jay, and Flint get back to America and get in a hideout by one of Roadblock's friends, as we learn he was a different man before he was a Joe named Marvin, and Jay discovers what is wrong with the president and that his hand is crossing different ways. They go to a house Joe Colton, played by Bruce Willis, and asks him to help out, as it was hilarious when he calls Jay Brenda. And she says that's not her name, as she gives him a pen, as he makes Jay run out in short shorts while needing help with groceries, which is kind of a cliche of a creepy man of helping out a woman. Well, I mean, she does need help, sure, but he looked creepy, honestly. Snake Eyes and Jinx dive on a mountain when Storm Shadow is healed, and once again, Snake Eyes fights Storm Shadow, and Jinx fights Storm Shadow's healer, and Jinx wins that fight and captures Storm Shadow, and some ninjas fight on the mountains, which was a cool fight, as this is becoming a little entertaining in my opinion, as it ends with Snake Eyes creating an avalanche on the snow. And this may be better than the last film, but the stunts looked a little silly, as the music sounded silly as well. Jay goes to a party disguised as Amy Vandervoort from Fox News, and is the attraction of the show, and the president dances with Jay, as she, with Roadblock and Flint, have been identified, and Firefly starts attacking the Joes, and Roadblock fights Firefly, with Roadblock doing the moves The Rock does on the WWE, until Flint stops the fight by running over Firefly, and it felt typical of The Rock to do moves like that in the movies, as it was a cliche of The Rock. The Storm Shadow is interrogated by a blind master and breaks him as well as Snake Eyes' sword, and we get the unnecessary flashback from the last film briefly, which didn't make me too happy, but the breaking of the swords was a little corny for sure. I get the impression Jay and Flint are having a brief romance, as this is a typical action movie with a little romance, and Cobra Commander gets a scan of the president's eye, and I like the way Cobra Commander sounds more than last time, as now he's more menacing. Roadblock, Jay, Flint get approached by Snake Eyes and Jinx, as he sees, as Roadblock says, "I think I'm faster than you, Snake Eyes," until he points out the sword on his stomach and says, "Damn ninjas." As this movie is funnier than last time, as The Rock has chemistry, which makes the movie fun, and they meet each other with Storm Shadow fighting on their side, which is a bad idea, but the movie is entertaining me as I can go along with it. They get some guns from Joe and plan on kicking some Cobra ass, and it feels badass. The president is in a room with other presidents in different countries, while the Joes sneak around to beat up some of Cobra's men, while the president sends a missile to London while playing Angry Birds on his phone, which was kind of amusing at the time. And Cobra Commander and his team comes in after the destruction of London and takes over America, as it becomes the United States of Cobra, I'll say. While Jay and Joe go to the real president's house to save his life, and Storm Shadow and Jinx shooting up the place, while Snake Eyes enters and Roadblock comes in with a faster tank than any other tank, and that was kind of a fun kick-ass moment of the film. While all the action is going on, Roadblock destroys the tanks and catches up with Firefly and the weapon by boat and shoots his ass, and have another fist fight while trying to get the weapon called Project Zeus, which sounds silly for a weapon, as Roadblock does win that fight and stops Project Zeus. and Cobra from destroying the world and blows up Firefly to his death, while Storm Shadow follows the president and fights another ninja and kills Zartan, who's disguised as the president, while Joe and Jay get the president from hostage, and Flint and Snake Eyes try to get Cobra Commander out of a helicopter and miss their opportunity as they meet up with after the Roadblock and Firefly fight. And as they save the president and they go back home and get honored by medals of being heroes, and the climax is entertaining as this entire movie. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.3 out of 10. I didn't mind the characters and the plot was silly for sure, but at the same time, I'm entertained by this movie. I went with the silly plot as it has its kick-ass moments, and the action is a hell of a lot of fun. The movie entertained me from start to finish, so you might want to turn off your brain and enjoy it as a beat popcorn entertainment movie. And is this better than the first G.I. Joe? Hell yeah! And one more thing to add, I enjoyed seeing The Rock as he has more charisma, as I'm much more of a fan of his than Vin Diesel, sorry Vin, because of how much light he brings in the movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. And until next time, not go, Yo Joe!